saying, what do you think in terms of, I think Jay alluded to this earlier as well, in terms of how do we create that panic mode? So when you're in panic mode now, you have to make decisions in terms of the urgency of what caused the panic. I think you mentioned about family of four going out of town on the freeway and they're trying to pass, whatever, and there's issues there. And then there could be a casualty effect, or there could be just a fender bender. But on the highways, there's going to be some serious, some serious injuries because you 70, 80 miles per hour.
Right.
So is that the area that you're trying to really focus on, or in terms of how that law is actually a law or a rule?
So it's right now.
There's a difference.
Right now, it's almost, you could almost say it's a suggestion. It should have been a law. It was one of the things that it's just making its way, on the steps of the.
That's each state, right?
Each state, yeah, it has to go through the House.
Is there any states that have actually kind of put some enforcement measures behind it, or everybody just?
Pennsylvania. That's where I got pulled over.
So talk about that.
Yeah. So I was in Pennsylvania. I can't tell you how many years ago. It may have been 2000. Let me see. 2017 or 2018, if I'm not making these numbers up. And I was driving. It had to have been right. So I'm driving, and it's about 6 o'clock in the morning. There's no other vehicles out there. That's what I say. It's me and the Lord. And I'm driving down the road, and then I stop for gas at some point, and I get back on the road. Like I just get my gas, I get back on the road. And then I notice there's a trooper on the road with me, and the trooper is driving ahead of me. The trooper's in the right lane. I'm in the left lane. There's no other vehicles on the road. It's a Sunday morning. So as I'm driving, I realize that the trooper is slowing up. So I'm like, all right, maybe he got his business. I'm 10 and 2, right? I'm not doing anything wrong. Next thing I know, I pass him. He jumps behind me with the lights on, and I pull over, and I'm like,
what's this about?
What did I do? Like my very first thing.
You're not speeding, right?
Not speeding, not doing anything wrong.
Did he pay you for a mile?
He must have.
Okay.
He must have. At the time, I was oblivious to the law.
Because it triggered the mile range triggers the.
It triggers, exactly. So you have to be,
the
law in most states is that, or the implied law, or the proposed law, was that if you're driving a mile and a half in the left lane and you're not overtaking another vehicle, and you're not driving faster than the other vehicles, you have to be in the right lane, the rightmost lane. But in the state of Pennsylvania, their law, each charter is different. So the law in Pennsylvania states that I don't care what's happening, you need to be in the right lane. If you're not passing anyone, you need to be in the right lane. So I get pulled over, and the officer, my first thing is like, hello officer, just trying to be as polite as I possibly can. And don't give him any reason, like, and I always have my information out already. By the time they pull me over, I already have it. I don't have to, you want it, it's right there. Right? So he's like, you know why I pulled you over? And I'm like, I'm waiting for you to tell me. Like, I'm really waiting for you to tell me. He said, well, you were driving in the left lane. And I'm like,
what are you talking about?
And he was like, yeah, in the state of Pennsylvania, you cannot drive in the left lane unless you're overtaking another vehicle. He was like, but I'm going to let you off with a warning. So that was that was their initial way that was their first wave of making the public aware that this is something, this is a warning, it's a law, right? It was maybe take some time, but they started that initiative. The very next initiative that they started doing, you would have troopers just railroading everybody in the left lane. And if they stayed behind you long enough, you didn't move, then they would pull you over. So I witnessed a lot of that too. A lot of them, in the field trying to mitigate the situation. But that's why they said it's enforceable, because you know how much gas you're gonna burn all day chasing vehicles for a mile and a half just to pull them over to go back around. So
they can be to other businesses as well.
Yeah. So it got to the point where it wasn't considered something. So on the ground of it being a law, it didn't pass, regardless of how much lives they think it may save, regardless of how they feel. Like I said, I don't think it would have gotten to the point without a committee. It would have gotten to the point of being a law, or just getting passed into the law, if there wasn't some kind of information on that. This is a threat somehow.
Who would, in terms of what advocacy group, or I don't know, whatever powers it be, would put effort into to interfering in that becoming a law? Who do you think would be behind something like that? I mean, just thinking in terms of who would impede that process. Because the law get kicked down on a lot of issues like advocacy or special interest groups. They no, we don't want that. Who would be against that? I mean, do you think the state police would be against something like that? It become a rule, or?
I definitely think they'd be against it because when
You saying
we
state
just
police
talk
would?
about society is built on making money, right? The higher ups, the elites.
Well, saving money.
Yeah, or saving money, but it's never in our favor, you know. So I think that it would be pushback. There's just from the police, right? You know, it's taken away from their job, and I think that's just a scary thing with technology.
But they said it's not enforceable, so they haven't been doing anything to enforce it.
Well, I mean, like, if a state trooper is tracking a person for a mile, that's man hours. That's time on the clock. People could be speeding 100 miles an hour, or drunk drivers, or road rage. That's taken away from another duty. If they have to focus on that particular rule, then that's time, energy, effort. I don't know. I mean, to me,
I like where you're going with that. I mean, it could go either way. They could say, yeah, you're actually helping us because now we can focus our energy on other things.
if there's a law, if there's a
there's
law, and they can take their focus, their time, the man hours off that particular rule. Now there's a law for this here. That means that the law is for us to obey. I mean, I don't have to. The police don't have to be on your back, you know, to enforce the laws. I mean, as citizens or law abiding, we want to just obey the law. The law says 65 miles an hour. Okay, I'm gonna do 70. I'm not gonna do 90. Well, I mean, yeah, but I know that there's a law.
Exactly.
So I think that most people will obey the laws. Most people will. Most of the time, I'm not gonna say all the time, but most of the time.
As if they know it's a law.
Pardon?
So it's like if they know it's a law.
That's I advocate for your position because if they know it's a law, then they'll comply with that law.
I think this is a sorry to interrupt, but I think this is a perfect time to kind of like segue into what other processes are out there. You know, not where we have to combat regulation, but the actual advancement of electricity. For example, like the range you would get out of a Tesla compared to Lucid Motors, for example. How can we find our niche within the realm of advancement of technology without having to face like no backlash from regulators? But let's just say if you got this company, and let's just say I'm the small guy, how can I provide a process or something that will benefit what they're already doing? So let's just say that Detroit, one of the only cities within the United States, finally just opened the first residential street where you can actually drive down and charge your car. Now, how can we find a way to be involved? Like, what kind of technology can we reproduce to, advance what's already accepted? Electric vehicles is already
absolutely
out here.
Yeah.
Do we need to be looking at certain components on the car, like you say, let's just say the mirrors for object detection? What technology should we really be focused on? What does the process? I want to use those terms because I think that's what a lot of people actually understand in the automotive industry. What is our process?